tell you what I do next. We are going to make tomato jam out of green tomatoes. And I just washed a bunch of green tomatoes. I have plenty more, but we're gonna start with this much. And I'm going to weigh them, and I'm going to do about 10 pounds worth of green tomatoes. I'm gonna cut them first to cut off all the parts that I'm not gonna use, parts that I don't like. And I'm gonna do just a rough cut because I'm putting it in the blender for just cut off the parts that weren't good. And now I'm going to weigh it and see how many pounds. I ended up with 17 pounds. So my recipe's for 5 pounds, so I'll just triple it. 5 pounds looks like, what 10 pounds looks like. Start putting these chunks in here into my processor. It's a Ninja, and I'm just going to chop it, go to chopping. And this goes really fast. And then I'll put it in my pan and start to cook them down. Just putting it on the chop setting. You can chop it up by hand if you want, but I like to do it this way. It's so much faster. And if they're big chunks, it doesn't matter because as it cooks down, those pieces soften up. Bring it directly into this big, tall pot so that as it cooks and boils, it won't boil over the top. Okay, here it is. We're gonna go on medium heat and cook this for a long while, an hour or two, until it really softens up. And I'm about to add the rest of the ingredients right now so it can cook into the flavor and be so rich. Add the sugar. So in this recipe, because I'm 3 timesing it, it is 3 3/4 cup of sugar. I'm gonna give that a 3/4 cup of lime juice in here. You can also use lemon juice, but my husband and I prefer the lime juice. It is so delicious. Now I researched lots of recipes and I made this tomato jam with red tomatoes. It was delicious. The recipes, all of the recipes I found had about twice this much sugar. So I am actually using far less sugar than many of the recipes. You can use honey if you want it more healthy, or brown sugar if you want it a little bit richer, darker sauce with that molasses flavor in there. Teaspoons. 3 heaping tablespoons of canning salt or coarse sea salt. Okay, next we are going to do a tablespoon of nutmeg, ginger, and cinnamon, and then 1 teaspoon of cloves and 1 teaspoon of crushed red peppers. If you want yours spicier, you can go up to 3 tablespoons of crushed red pepper. I'm gonna add these and stir them in, and now we're gonna just let it cook. I added 1 teaspoon of cumin last time, and it was amazing, so I'm gonna also add 1 teaspoon of cumin to stir, and took a little nibble, and the flavors are so unbelievably delicious. Okay, I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then let it boil on a low boil for at least an hour and reduce it and thicken it and get the green tomatoes really soft. Ooh, by the way, see some bigger chunks in there? They will totally soften. When I do red tomatoes, I don't even chop them. I put them in the pot whole and cook them for about 2 hours, and they just break down. So these big pieces will break down. So don't feel like you need to pull them out and chop them up more. Oh, it's so delicious. And the smell is already filling the house with just this fall smell with the nutmeg and the cloves, the cinnamon, that ginger. Oh my goodness, it's delicious. About 15 minutes to get it up to this boil. And I'm gonna I end up having to put the heat up to between medium and high to get this baby going. So now I'm gonna bring it down to a medium heat and see where it lands. And then I'm just gonna let it go for 45 minutes to an hour. It could even take 2 hours. My red tomatoes that are really ripe usually take about 1 hour. And I'm guessing this will take a little longer since they're green, but we'll see. We'll see how long they take. It just depends how long it takes to not only thicken up and evaporate all this, so don't do it with the lid on it. We want to lose all this moisture to thicken it up. And then how long it takes to get these soft. How it has come down at least, gosh, 2 inches. So it's reduced quite a bit. And you can see how much thicker it's looking. A little taste of it. Oh wow. It has gotten so much softer. It is almost ready. So delicious, it's unreal. I'm just waiting for the water to heat up in my processor, and I will begin to process this. Imagine canning this into pints, or half pints, and putting a red bow around it and giving it out as a Christmas gift to your neighbors and friends. Green with the red. Also, it would be so fun to chop up a couple of red peppers in this and make so it has a little red, you know, diced up some red peppers in this. Yeah, you know, it couldn't hurt the flavor for sure, but also just the little speckles of red in there would be so pretty if you wanted to do like hand out Christmas tomato jam with a recipe of what to put it on. It's great on meatloaf, hot dogs, any kind of meat. It's great on eggs, and I like it over things like beef stroganoff. I'll put just a dollop of this on top to add that little bit of tartness from the tomato and a little of the sweetness. I'm going to start filling the jars. I'm going to pull them out of the dishwasher, and my processor is almost ready, and it's almost to a boil there, so we're going to just fill them, get them ready to go, and then process time is 20 minutes. Look at this. See, from up here, it's about almost 3 inches. It's thickened, it's soft, the flavors have developed. It's perfect today, so I'm not going to actually be able to show you in live how I'm doing this, but I'm going to ladle this into the cans, and then when they're all filled up, I'll show you what I do next. About a fourth of the way done, or no, maybe a half the way done. We're going to fill them up a half of an inch, and then wipe these down with a wet rag and put the lid on and put them in. I'm going to just do this many at a time to see how many it takes to fill. If too much in, you can just take a tablespoon and pull it out. Now it's ready to roll. Dishwasher sterilized. Set those on, and then screw the this part around until it's finger tight. Put these in the bath. Now you don't want to screw on really tight because it can give you a false seal. You think it's sealed, but it's not. But of course, it needs to be tight enough to hold it in place. In here like this, so they don't get lopsided, and then I keep filling them in. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 should be able to fit of this size of jar. Bubble those 4 that just went in. So I'm going to do it with these. So you're going to just kind of push those air bubbles out. It helps to make sure you get a proper seal. If I've done this before where I've forgotten, and then a few of them don't seal, so they go in the fridge for us to eat right away. And when you go to all this work, you want it to be able to go on your shelf. But the bubbles push the lid off. They push pressure the other direction where we don't want it to be. Okay, I've got 9 jars, like I guess it would be. That last one was a tight fit. It's going on. And as soon as it's boiling, which it's going to be soon because it was already boiling, I'll start the 20-minute. What I have left in here, probably enough for 1 more jar. And so instead of doing a whole processing for 1 more jar, I'm just going to scoop it up and put it in my fridge to enjoy right now, or give it to a neighbor to enjoy, or a family member, or someone who's like, what the heck is tomato jam? So last one up, and I just labeled it green tomato jam, not sealed, so I know it doesn't go on the shelf. Put that in the fridge, share it with someone, or enjoy it. Oh, so we're going to pull this off of the heat, take the lid off, and let it sit for about 5 to 10 more minutes before we put it on the heat, and that really rapid boil just stops immediately. You can see there's about 2 inches above the cans, and we want at least 1 to 2 inches above the cans to get the proper seal. Okay, I'm going to pull these up so they can cool a little teeny bit before I put them on the towel. Those racks, and with hot pads, of course, because it's steaming hot. 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll put it on the towel. I've got a towel ready to roll. It's going to sit here on this towel for about 24 hours. You'll hear the bing, bing, bing when they pop, and then I'll show you what you do after. Okay, guys, we're just gonna start to take these out. Place them here. There they are, they're so gorgeous. And we'll start with the ping, ping, ping. And then I'll tell you what I do next. They all sealed properly. So now we're gonna just take this off of all of them, and then tip this upside down and hold it like this to make sure the seal is great. And then I wipe them down in case anything's sticky, and then label what it is and date it and put it in your food storage room. It is so yummy.